This episode is sponsored by Boss Tree Service. If you need tree work in Noonan, Boss Tree Service is your trusted partner for all things trees and beyond. Fast, reliable, and fully insured, they handle everything from trimming to full tree removal and stump grinding, keeping your property safe and looking great. Locally owned, honest pricing, and top-notch cleanup every time. Call Boss Tree Service today and get it done right. Welcome to the Masculine Revolution, hosted by Jeremy Brown and myself, Murphy G. This is episode number 66 with Dakota Caldwell. Thank you for coming on.
Happy to be here.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We also got the great Alan Black in here with us this morning.
Whoop, whoop.
Another early morning episode. Super excited for you to be here. Dakota Caldwell is running for county commissioner, specifically District 3.
Thank you.
Appreciate you taking this time to come on with us this morning.
Well, now I'm getting professional podcast added to the resume.
There you go.
After you've done, 3, that counts, right?
For sure.
So,
Jeremy, you want to bring us into it?
Yeah. Dakota, just kind of bring us into some history of when you got to Coweta. Did you grow up here? That kind of thing. Just
Okay.
give us some past.
Okay, so I actually grew up in Harris County, which is not too far from here. Very rural. We moved out there when I was in 6th grade, and it was very different moving from Columbus to Harris County. And, people would say, "Oh, you're going to ride 4-wheelers this weekend? You got dirt bikes?" And I was like, "No, I'm just going to play in the creek." But then after we got adjusted, we had dune buggies, and that's what we did on a normal basis. And so grew up there. Actually ended up going to Columbus High School, and the way that it works down there is Columbus is a magnet school, so you can pay like an out-of-county fee to go to high school in Columbus, and you test to get in. And so I ended up going there for high school and had a great experience. It's still one of the best schools in Georgia. And then undergrad, I played soccer at Mercer my first year. Ended up transferring back home. Mercer was very expensive, being a private school, and so I was really counting on a scholarship because I was a walk-on for the soccer team, and it just didn't come through because they recruited 11 new players my sophomore year, and so scholarship money just wasn't there for me. So I had to make a decision, go back home, and my undergrad's in accounting. Met my husband when I was in undergrad, and we moved up here my senior year of college, and we didn't live together. Mark lived with his parents, and we bought a house, and I lived there until we got married, and that was in 2011, 2012 time frame. And then we started the firm, and that's what I was telling you. Like, we worked together, and we learned a lot about each other and like the boundaries. And being engaged, you're still learning about that person, and so we took a little bit of a break from working together, and I started my own small business and ran that out of the house. And then we ended up moving the firm to Peachtree City out of our home. And then I ended up moving my small business out of our home, just to give some distance, so that when you go home, it's shut off. And
Yeah.
we try our best to do that, but it still follows you, when you have a business. And so I ended up wanting to pursue accounting. And so I sold my business, and right before I sold my business, I went back to school. I went to Auburn to get my master's in accounting. And at that point, we had 3 children. Trying to think of the timeline. I think we had 3, and I was maybe pregnant with the 4th when I was getting my master's, and finished my master's and got my CPA, which took about a year to do all of the testing. And then I'd helped Mark throughout, like just during tax season, but then after I finished my graduate studies, I went back to the firm full time. And so now we're working together full time. We were still in the building together. I was upstairs, he was downstairs when I had my business, but now we're like on the same level.
Yeah.
Nice.
We're on opposite sides of the building, but I can still hear him. He's like, "Dakota, what are you doing over there? You ready to go to lunch?" On non-meeting days, of course. And we just don't know any different now. We love working together, and we've learned how to do that. Being more productive, and what workflow works for us. And coming into this, I had to evaluate where am I at career-wise, and where are we at personally? Is this something that I can take on, because it is a very large time commitment. And so feeding from going in, being in tax season and then seeing the article that Mark forwarded me about Bob not seeking re-election for county commissioner, I just looked at Mark and I was like, I think he regrets forwarding me that article at this point, because doing the campaign and, going out and meeting all of these new people, it's different than what we were, doing.
Yeah.
And you're putting yourself out there, and Mark and I have always been very private. And so this is not private. People are looking at every single thing that you do, and I don't have anything to hide. It's just, telling people where you live, and people knowing that where you live is different, or like what things you participate in, that's been different, just that it's been more public, everything that you do, someone's paying attention to and trying to critique you on. And I have very thick skin, which is really helpful right now, but, yeah, I'm excited. I did this to serve Coweta, and I still want to do it. And, I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
So
tell us why commissioner?
When I saw the opportunity to serve, I knew that I had like personality strengths and personal strengths that would be a good fit for something like this. The timing is really good because Philip, our youngest, who's 4, is in pre-K. So all of the kids are in school now. And if you want to get involved, this is a good place to do that. I love where I live. Mark and I wanted to raise our kids here. We wanted to raise our family here. And this position, it is a position that impacts a lot of your day-to-day life. And so if you want to make an impact, why not start at county commissioner? You could do a lot of different things, but I think each individual has to pick and choose based off of their strengths and weaknesses. And this just felt like a very good position for me in the phase of life that I'm in right now. And being a CPA, I think that it will be really beneficial because the county commissioners approve a budget for the county, and the county administrator, Michael Fouts, Kelly Mickle, she's a CPA as well. They put those things together from all of the various departments, and county commissioners have to approve it. And so I was like, well, why not someone with a CPA, step up and run and serve in this way? And so that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That's why, because I love where I live. I want my children to want to come back here to raise their kids. And how can I have a hand or play a role and make an impact in shaping where Coweta is headed? And I think this role does just that.
Yeah.
So.
Were you ever interested in politics before? You
Absolutely.
Were? Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
And I just wasn't bold about it or like loud about it. But I don't think that's a bad thing.
No.
Everyone has opinions and views, and how they feel on gun rights or property taxes or pro-life or abortion. There are a lot of large federal or state topics that I may agree or disagree with, or party related topics that I agree or disagree with. But I'm Republican. I'm very conservative. I do think that someone in this role needs to be well-rounded and be able to communicate with all types of people. And I think that's something that I also have the ability to do. I was telling someone the other day, and Mark, he always tells me to stop talking to everybody when we go places. But I just don't meet a stranger. Everyone has a unique story and background, and you can learn from any conversation that you have. And so with this role, I really do view it as a representation of District 3. And, you have to have a lot of conversations, be able to communicate with all types of people and hear their thoughts and opinions on things that impact them in their day-to-day life. And so, I think those things, and I think being willing to have that conversation and picking up the phone or someone calling you, you don't know what to expect. I've gotten several calls that I'm just like, I have no impact on that. I will literally not be able to have any impact on that. Or you have someone that emails you about a park that's going in their backyard, and they're like, I love parks. Like, who doesn't want a park in their community, for ball fields or a playground? But where you put those things does matter, Yeah. And so if somebody reaches out about that, you want to make sure that you're listening and hearing their concerns. And so you just never know what you're going to get.
Yeah. How do you think your strengths can make a difference?
The budget is really something that I plan to focus on. Making sure, a lot of people have questions about where their property tax dollars are going. It's a valid question. Anytime you're putting your money towards something or your tax, you want to make sure that those resources are being allocated the right way, and that the organization, like if you tithe, the organization is using those resources to strategically make decisions that are going to be in the best interest of that organization. So you give to your church or various organizations and you support their mission, but you're also going to ask questions. So if you come back to government, like, what are property taxes being used for? And there should be complete transparency in that, because someone worked very hard to be able to pay those property taxes. They're invested in the community, they purchased that property, and they're a contributing member of society. So if they have a question about something, you should be able to answer that question fully, and so when somebody pays their property taxes or, licenses, court fees, all of those things contribute to the revenue of the county. And public safety is a large portion of the budget. It's 45%. You also have roads and infrastructure. You have libraries. You have parks and recreation. There are so many departments that fall under county commissioner, but specifically the administrator. And Michael works as like a bridge, to the various departments. He addresses the day-to-day operations of the county and then comes back to the Board of Commissioners and says, hey, these are some of the needs. How can we budget for those things? And as a county commissioner, going back to the strengths of being a CPA, anyone can be a county commissioner. All experience is relevant because you relate to the people that you're representing in the county that you're serving in. And so I do think that being a CPA will be beneficial, but not just being a CPA, being a mom, being a volunteer, being a wife, having gone to undergrad and grad school, like all of those things have prepared me to do something like this. Yeah. Like, all experience is relevant. And yes, there are going to be things that I have to learn about. Like, I love learning new things. I don't think that that's a problem, but some people might say, oh, well, you're very young. That just because you're young doesn't mean you don't have relevant experience, And so, and I said this at one of the recent forums, like, everybody has a first day on the job. Whether you're 23 or 55 and people change careers or take a different path or make different decisions to benefit their families at all ages, so why not me and why not county commissioner?
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's just a natural next step in serving in the place that I love to live. So. Yeah.
Well, I know that last vote for Project Sale was kind of weird because it just seemed like they weren't listening to the people. I haven't seen a ton of people, really. I haven't seen anybody for the data center out there.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's still, and it seemed kind of shady the time that they lined up the meeting on spring break. Like, there's just like a bunch of stuff where it's like, are you really listening to constituents? So it's encouraging to hear that that you're willing to hear people out and take that in, because like I said, that last vote just doesn't seem like they're listening to the people at all.
Yeah. I'd been following Project Cell, and I've heard overwhelmingly no for Project Cell. And, doing all of these forums, that's really been one of the hot topics is data centers. Where I stand is I do not want to see data centers in rural conservation. I live in RC zoning, and I would not want to put that in my backyard. So why would I vote to put that in someone else's?
Yeah.
I think there's still a lot of unknowns, and I was shocked by the vote.
Yeah.
I really was, because I
too.
was there when they voted, and I know after speaking with several of the commissioners, maybe a part of the reason why they voted, and going back to why I think that I will be able to provide something a little different to the board. If you don't plan financially, just like you do for your household, if you don't plan long-term for county operations, and you're making decisions on a 1 to 2 year time frame versus like a 5 to 7 or even longer, and you don't know where you're going or how you're going to get there, planning for like large projects, you might make a decision to approve a data center that you've been told is going to bring in a significant amount of revenues to your county. I'm not saying that's why they approved it, but what I'm saying is I know that played a significant role in the decision that was made, was the dollars that were going to be, and the capital investment that was going to be made here in Coweta County from Project Cell. I know that the commissioners that I've spoken with didn't feel like they rushed the decision, and they have visited other data centers, and they've talked to a lot of people both for and against. I have talked to several people that are for data centers.
Really? Okay.
Yes. And it's a smaller amount than the ones that were, wearing red at the commissioners' meetings. And that.
Well, I mean, just anytime it's mentioned like on Noonan Times Herald or anything, I mean, it's just like loaded comments of just
Absolutely
not here, no. So
yeah,
that's why I feel like it's like majority doesn't want it. I'm sure there is some people that,
there are.
I mean, it's necessary, but it's just, about where it goes, really.
Right. And how many?
Yeah.
Those are all questions. The environmental impacts, the health impacts, water, wildlife, all of those things factor in when you're talking about preserving the rural character of what makes Coweta special and following the comprehensive plan. That's something that has come up a lot. Like, are we making decisions that follow the plan that we took the time to put into place? And that decision did not follow the comprehensive plan. And I think that's what really surprised people the most, was because when you purchase a piece of property or a home and you look at the community and you're 30 minutes away from the city, and it's large acreage surrounding you, you're making an investment there, praying that your property values will not be impacted significantly by poor decisions or any decisions to rezone.
Yeah.
And I also know that county commissioners can't get between a willing buyer and a willing seller. So if someone is marketing their land and they want to sell it, I mean, I don't think anyone's going to turn down $350,000 to $400,000 an acre.
Yeah.
No one. Very few people would turn that down. And so, people have the ability to develop the land to the highest and best use and make money and profit off of their investment. So, do I agree with where they put it? No. Would I have voted for it? No. But you also have to keep in mind, it's not just people saying no. There are also people saying yes. And as a county commissioner, you do have to listen to both sides.
Yeah.
So you can't just take your own opinions and thoughts and act on those things. You also have to listen. Bill McKenzie and Bob Blackburn voted no. And so those two districts were on the side of the county where Project Cell is going. The other 3 said yes. So I'm curious to see what they're going to say when data center wants to pop up in their backyard and in their district. And time will tell. Time will tell.
You think there'll be more coming?
Yes.
I wonder how many more.
I've seen 6.
6?
6 more proposed.
Golly.
So, and it matters who you vote for.
It's not just Coweta,
It's everywhere. It is. It's everywhere. But what are the long-term impacts of these data centers, especially the hyperscale data centers, that we're seeing now? Fayette County is in a drought. That's something to pay attention to.
Yeah.
And I don't know that we can point our finger straight to the data center, but we have had a lack of rainfall. Thank the Lord. We had rain this week.
Yeah.
We've just planted all of our tomatoes, and we were watering constantly. And so it was really nice that the Lord provided us with rain right after we planted them and got them in the ground. But, if we experience a period of drought like that again, and we do have multiple data centers in Coweta County, how is that going to impact the people that, the water pressure and the people that farm here, or have cattle or, livestock or things like that. So there's still a lot of questions that need to be answered. And I just don't think that we have all of the facts. So I think that we should proceed with caution on approving additional data centers here.
Yeah, for sure.
Even with the dollar signs that supposedly follow them.
Yeah.
So,
why are people important for you to serve?
So being a mom of 4, the kids have been my priority. Since Lillian was born, I've really focused on my family, and that's been a big priority. Now that they're all in school, I have a little bit more time. And I was telling someone, I recently did a career day, and I don't know if you've all ever been able to do a career day, but it is I love it, because you go in and you ask the children, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you get so many wide range of responses, because everyone's parents do something different. So that kind of impacts their thoughts on where they might want to be, or what they might want to do when they grow up. And overwhelmingly, you want to help, you want to serve, you want to work with people, or you want to play a sport. They're just a wide variety. And county commissioner's role is so broad, and you work with so many different departments, from waste management. One child, if he wants to do trash, pick up, or be a garbage man, that's something that the county commissioners influence or impact. I'm trying to think, how nursing, where's the hospital going to go? How are those careers going to impact someone's day-to-day life in Coweta County, and the zoning for where those things go, the ordinances that are in place, the new developments that come in. If somebody wants to go into manufacturing or work with cars, we don't have a lot of it was professional athletes. And a lot of professional athletes do live in Coweta County.
Yeah.
Our proximity to Atlanta, we're very close, so you can get on a plane and, go somewhere. But, how are decisions that county commissioners making going to impact those children's lives as they go through school, and what they want to do for work? Are they going to be able to work here in Coweta County?
Yeah.
And so the people matter, because when you make a decision, it impacts every single person in this community. Yes, District 3, but everyone in all of Coweta. Mm-hmm. So infrastructure and roads, we all drive all over Coweta. It's not just a county versus city issue. It's Coweta County infrastructure, and how we navigate those things and make those decisions impact someone's daily life. So You know, as a mother of 4, I'm driving to the grocery store, taking my kids to and from school, taking them to their activities in the evenings, going to church on Sunday. What do the roads and infrastructure look like so that traffic is not horrible when you're trying to get from point A to point B? And how can we foster relationships or allocate budget and resources to make sure that we're taking care of our roads so that the commute isn't long and we can prioritize family time? Because if your commute to and from work is 40 minutes versus 15, you know, that's cutting into your dinner time and time at the table with your family or a bedtime story, you know. And so serving in this way and having this level of impact on everyday life for all of the residents is important to me because I'm also living here. I'm living the same life in the same community, you know. And so I think that with the current board being, I think 4 of them are 70 years old. I'm pretty sure they're 70, and then one might in his 50s. You know, my perspective being 35 with a young family is very different. Like the roads and the times that I'm traveling are very different. You know, being a female, the things that I might pay attention to are a little bit different than a man. You know, when I'm taking the kids out and going somewhere, I have to make sure that I'm paying attention to my safety and the safety of the family. I can't just go anywhere I want, whenever I want, any time of the day. And so I don't know that my perspective as a working mom is currently being represented. I'm sure they listen to people like me, but I'm hoping to have an impact in those decisions with the perspective of a young family in mind. So,
yeah, that's good.
Is there any other CPAs that are commissioners right now, or any other commissioners that are also CPAs?
Not that I'm aware of.
That's interesting.
Variety of backgrounds and experience. So I think I bring something different.
Yeah,
I do.
Definitely, for sure.
So not that everybody wants to talk to a CPA all day. We're known for like looking at our shoes, but we're not all like that. Some of us are outgoing and social, and you know, can carry on a conversation and not just talk about tax or audit. You know.
Yeah.
So it's just everyone has their own unique skill set. And when you have a more well-rounded board and you have different perspectives, you're going to come out with a better solution, you know, and that's why it matters. Like having the conversations with people in your district and your constituents, someone might be able to come up with a solution that is a better fit for a wider variety of people, you know? And so that's why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
How can we solve problems that Coweta County is facing, and how can I play a role in that with a financial background?
Yeah.
You know.
Educate me a little bit about the commissioners. You have like you go to office every day, or is it you just when they adjourn in the meetings, or
it's part-time.
Is it part-time?
It is.
Okay.
So I will continue to work as a CPA.
Yeah.
I say it's part-time, but from what I've heard, it's a lot of time.
I'm sure. Especially with the way Coweta's growing. I mean,
it is growing.
There's a lot of stuff to pay attention to.
There is, and you know, talking with the other commissioners and with Michael Fouts, I think it just depends on what you want to make it. I mean, you can spend 20 to 40 hours on it a week, or some weeks you can spend 5 to 10. I think it just depends on what you're willing to give. And, you know, some weeks the agenda might be really long. Some weeks it might be a little bit shorter. There are work sessions. There are a lot of boards and authorities and committees that commissioners are able to appoint people to. So if elected, I'll probably take a more active role in going and attending some of those things, and just making sure that people know that I'm available and accessible if they want to reach out to me and have a conversation, or, you know, I want to listen and make sure that I'm educated so that when someone asks me a question, I'm aware of what's going on. Yeah. And I think we have a lot of really good resources. You know, you can go to the county's website and find answer to pretty much any question that you have. but you should also be able to pick up the phone and call your county commissioner.
Yeah.
You know,
Now I've heard that comprehensive plan said a lot.
Yeah.
Is that on the website?
It
Could
is.
you go find that on the
yeah,
website?
you can
Okay.
read through the comprehensive plan. They've worked really hard over the last 1 to 2 years to make it a little bit shorter. It was very long. And a lot of people aren't going to take the time to read something that's 500 pages. So they've shortened it. I think it's like 40 to 60 pages. And I've gone through it a couple of times. But it gives you an idea of where Coweta and the residents have played a role in shaping where they want things, commercial. Where are we going to place those commercial properties? Where are we going to place industrial properties? What's currently zoned residential, and how are we going to grow in a way that protects the rural character, and having that plan will set us up for success when we're making decisions. Because if you don't know, going back to Project Cell, if you don't know where something is going to be placed, but you do have a plan for that, you have to pay attention to it, because you want to protect your property values, and you want to make sure that you're not going to have leapfrog zoning where you have random industrial pop up, or things that just don't fit or that are inappropriate in places that are just not meant for that type of development, or can't support it. The infrastructure. If the infrastructure can't support a large development, then why would you put it there?
Yeah.
So, because then that's going to impact your quality of life. You're going to have longer commute, and it just trickles out into public services, making sure that police, fire, EMS can really truly handle that location. And if you have things spread out all over the place, it just creates inefficiencies.
Yeah. What's the thing that surprised you the most going on this journey with running and everything, or the most outlandish thing or whatever? I wasn't expecting that to happen,
honestly, never having done anything political before, I didn't realize how many people really do pay attention to it. There are a lot of people that I was like, I had no idea that you were this interested in politics.
Yeah.
I might go to church with somebody that is very involved that I had no idea. There has been an overwhelmingly positive, welcoming, and just supportive, encouraging group of people that have come alongside me and said, how can I help you? What can we do to get you elected? And I did not expect that.
Yeah.
Because Mark and I, like I said, we lived a very private life, and we kind of focused on our business and our family. Yes, we know a lot of people here. Mark grew up here in Sharpsburg, but I didn't expect to feel that embrace when I stepped into something like this. And I'm so thankful for that. Just reassurance that I'm on the right path and that I'm meant to be doing this.
Yeah.
It's nice to have. It's not necessary, but it is reassuring and comforting to know that you have people in your corner that want you to be successful. Even in your career, if you have someone that's encouraging you to go get that certification or that extra license, that encouragement can make all the difference in the world in someone's life. And so going into something like this and getting that's been what surprised me the most.
Yeah, you weren't expecting such a warm welcome?
No, I wasn't.
That's awesome.
But that's what I've received.
That's great.
There have been people that have picked up the phone and called me, and they were like, I've read about you. I've listened to the forums and the podcast that you've done, and I want to support you. I want your sign in my yard because I want you to be our next county commissioner. Yeah. And I love that you've decided to step up even in this busy phase of your life with everything that you have going on. And how can I help you? Can I introduce you to someone? Can I give financially? Can I can I show up to the forums and just be there for you? Can I pray for you? And that means so much to me.
Yeah.
You know,
sure.
because it's not easy. Like, this has been hard. Like, it takes a lot of my time away from my family. You know, my schedule is a little different now, being here like 5:45 in the morning. You know, like I usually get the kids ready for school and take them to school, and I love doing stuff like this. So please, like I'm thankful that y'all are allowing me to be here. You know, it's an honor to be included and considered. But it does impact your life when you do something like this in ways that you maybe don't realize going in. Like, the forums are in the evenings. I usually cook dinner for my family or take the kids to piano or guitar or volleyball or basketball. And so there has been a little bit of a scheduling, you know, just difference. And the kids are noticing that. But it's also, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
I think I'm enjoying it a little bit more than I thought I would, because I've always like told Mark, just put me in the back office. Like, you know, I'll just want to work. And I think a lot of people do take that approach, you know, just let me get as much done as possible without a lot of interaction and people interaction all day, which is fine. You know, everybody has different personalities, but like I said, I talk to people everywhere I go. I talk to new people, and I'm enjoying that.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying getting to know why somebody wants to live here, and do they want to stay here? Do they want their children to come back here? Like, what are some of the things that they're dealing with that I might be able to impact, you know, in a positive way? So I'm enjoying the just getting to know new people part, and learning new things about the county that I maybe wasn't aware of before. So there are pros and cons, you know. I do like look out in the woods and I'm like, oh my gosh, is somebody stalking me?
Right.
You know, like who's following me today? Because you do have to be aware, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Aware of your surroundings.
Yeah.
And I am more aware of my surroundings now. But overall, it's been very positive.
Yeah. How nerve-wracking was it preparing for the forum, knowing they're going to ask those like incredibly intense questions and you're going to have like 90 seconds to
Some of them you only
to.
have 30 seconds.
It's
they
like,
have, it's incredibly nerve-wracking to answer the question. You have to prepare for those things, and I did. Some of them you don't get questions in advance or topics. You show up and it's like cold turkey. Like,
man.
yes. And when you have 30 seconds, I need to take classes. Like, I just need to take classes, and debate classes and public speaking classes. I thought going in, I was like, oh, I can talk to anyone. I don't meet a stranger. I can do this. Just for reference, I was the dog walker in the high school plays. Okay. I was not on the stage. And so having that background and then being thrown onto a stage or onto a live recorded, you know, forum, it's very different than just day-to-day interaction. And so I'm scribbling down all of these notes of all the things that I want to talk about and get to when they ask these questions. And you can't possibly respond to some of these things in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
You know, so someone's getting like a short clip of how you feel, and they're taking it and running with it in a different direction. And you're like, no, like if I just had a few extra minutes, and that's why something like this and what you all are doing is so helpful, because I'm able to elaborate a little bit more. I'm very relaxed, you know, not stressed. You know, it's not something that, you know, you're doing something you've never done before, you know. So this is very helpful. I appreciate the opportunity. But preparing for those, when you don't know what's coming, and you want to make sure that you're looking at it from a wide range of perspectives, it can be very tough. It really can. And there have been topics that the campaign has been like, oh gosh, you need to avoid that, talking about that, because you really have no impact in that role or in that decision. So just, you know, save that for a later date. If you ran for something else down the road, I'm like, no, like county commissioner's it for right now. But you learn as you go, and every experience is an opportunity to grow, you know, and to learn. And so I've enjoyed that aspect of it. And it's good to make yourself uncomfortable sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, going into the forums when you're uncomfortable, you learn a lot about yourself and how you respond and react and your facial expressions. That's something I really need to work on because I have crazy eyes, apparently, when I'm doing these forums. And, you know, there's no, like, controlling that, you know, because it's just a natural reaction. And so that's why I think some of the classes for debate prep and public speaking might be beneficial, you know, for the long-term benefit of myself and others, because other people have to watch those things, and forming and articulating a complex thought in a short period of time, you know, everyone can work on that.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
Yeah, already being under the gun for the time frame for answering the questions, and then like somebody goes before you and kind of takes a subtle shot, you're kind of like, I want to address that, but I need
subtle shots.
Right? Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting missiles thrown at me. That's hard, you know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I have very thick skin.
Yeah.
You know, and you have to be prepared for things like that. Like when you're going into this, people are going to critique every single decision that you make.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to stand on that decision. And this is why I voted this way, you know? So taking those subtle shots, I mean, keep throwing them my way.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't scare me that someone's going to try to attack me. I have, like I said, I have very thick skin.
So you're kind of prepared for that part of it.
I don't have anything that I'm like ashamed of,
Yeah.
or that I've like embarrassed of, or like that my family would be embarrassed of. So, I mean, that's really helpful when
Yeah.
you don't have like a rap sheet, right?
Right.
Going into something like this. I don't have that. Like the worst that somebody can say about me is that like I take my kids to and from school, you know, and go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
So I think that's very helpful, because if I had, you know, a police record or had been
Some kind of ammunition against you. Yeah.
yeah, if I had something that was embarrassing, then I would have definitely had to have been prepared to
Right.
address those things, but I don't. And that's something I'm also thankful for. I feel like I've made really good decisions, and I'm very fortunate because every choice you make impacts the trajectory of your life. And I've made mistakes, yes,
Yeah.
and poor choices, yes, but nothing to the level that would bring shame to me or anyone that would vote for me or support me
Yeah.
or my family, you know. And so I think that's a good thing.
So when you decided to run, did they send some folks to help with the campaign, or
No.
no? Y'all was just figuring
I'm
it
winging
out?
it.
Really?
Yes.
That's awesome.
I am my campaign manager. The party, they will send you a list of voters with, you know, names and addresses and phone numbers so that you can call everybody and let them know, you know, what you're doing. And that's been helpful because you want to make sure that you're reaching the primary voters, because this is a primary election on May 19th. So I've taken that list and tried to use it to my benefit. They also encourage you to go door knocking. It's like trick-or-treating, but without the candy. Saying, hey, you know, I'm Dakota Caldwell. This is what I'm doing. That's more uncomfortable for me, just because I want to be respectful of people's family time, because I would want somebody to be respectful of my family time. And I also don't want to harass people. But apparently politicians do this door knocking, and it's very important. And so I'm having to get outside of my comfort zone a little bit. But like the party did provide like a walking list that says, hey, these are the addresses and these neighborhoods, so that you can go and do those things.
That's good.
I don't envy you on that one.
Yeah, for real.
So you don't want to join the walking party?
I'm not going to be knocking on any doors.
Well, and then like too, in rural Coweta, you have to be very careful of
Yeah.
which doors you knock on.
Yeah.
Just in today's times, I mean, when I was a kid, that wasn't anything unusual to just show up. I mean, I remember
To show up, yeah.
they had like visitation days with church when I was growing up. They would just go out to people's houses, just show up and say, "Hey, how you doing? We noticed you visited," or whatever. And it's like nowadays, people would take that as like disrespectful or whatever. Like, why are you at my door right now?
Right? You
Why do
didn't
you have
call in
my
advance
address?
and schedule an appointment.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or why do you have how did you get my address or my phone number? I do get some of that, but it's very, very rare. When I go door knocking, I want to spend time with them and get to know them. People will invite you into their house. They'll just come right in. Come sit at the kitchen table with me. I did not expect that.
Yeah.
I did not expect that.
Like, no, let me just do my spiel and then I'll be on my way.
Yeah.
out.
Hey, I'm Dakota. Like, this is what I'm doing. Please vote for me.
Right.
I think I'm the best candidate, and here's why. And then move on to the next one. Door knocking takes hours. It's a lot of time,
That's tough.
and a lot of energy, and it can be exhausting. But at the same time, you're learning about the people that you're going to serve,
Yeah.
and so there is a huge benefit in that, connecting with someone face to face is important, and them knowing who you are and that you're there to represent them and you want to do a good job, that's important too.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll get better about trick-or-treating next year because I'm doing all this door knocking.
What's some practical practices that you do personally to just kind of set your mind in a long-term perspective?
I've prayed a lot. Just quiet time. And in the car, sometimes it's nice to just have that quiet time when I'm driving, because I'm on the roads all the time, taking the kids to and from school, going to and from work in Peachtree City. The commute's very long now. So just prayer and quiet time. It's not always easy because, we have 4 kids, but I really do try to be intentional about that. Make sure I'm still have a peace about the decision because, my husband every day he's like, well, what drama is popping up today? And I'm, well, nothing so far, which is that's a good day.
Yeah.
But just taking time to either review the county notes that I've taken or the commissioners' meetings that are going on, because that really does help prepare for a role like this, knowing, what's historically happened and what decisions they're making. I might not be able to go to every commissioners' meeting because, the kids have activities and family is a priority to me. And I want to show them that, they do come first. And like Lillian has a chorus concert tonight. I also have 2 other events before that. So Man Tracker is tonight, which I'm excited to go to. I'm going to take the kids and do that event. And then someone called me yesterday and invited me to come to Arbor Springs and meet some of the residents in Arbor Springs. So, the logistics of how am I going to get from the fairgrounds to Arbor Springs back to the Nixon Center all within like a 3-hour period or 2-hour period.
Nice.
Those, yeah.
Full schedule.
Full schedule, yes, but also making sure that the kids know that, like, I'm not going to miss their events. Like, I'm not going to miss Lillian's chorus concert just because there's a campaign event that would be a benefit. So if I can't fit that in tonight, then it'll have to be cut out, because I want to make sure that they know that I'm not going to miss their basketball game or their chorus concert, because those are things that only happen once or a handful of times, And so I want to make sure that when they look back on their life, Mom was there. She was present and she was active. And that's why I serve with their schools, the PTA and the PTO and at Arbor Springs and Blake Bass and the school council and the school finance committee. My kids are very important to me, and what they're learning is important to me, and relationships with their teachers and their, the administration is important. And so making decisions on where you serve and how you get involved, I think it reflects like who you are and what your priorities are. So to go back to your question, just quiet time and prayer.
Yeah.
That really does help. Just get a peace and a calm, because it is chaotic. The campaign is busy and you have to make a lot of decisions and talk to a lot of people, and it becomes overwhelming some days when it's really busy, but taking a step back and just reflecting is important. So
Yeah, I would agree.
What would you say are like the top 3 things that you want to impact?
So the first one is the budget. The proposed legislation to do away with property taxes, I believe, is something that we need to plan for, strategically plan for. And so how are we going to be able to still offer the services that we offer to residents if property taxes are cut? Do we have a plan in place to address that shortfall in revenue? That's something that hopefully I can help guide and steer so that we're not making rash decisions on large development or decisions that we would ordinarily take a little bit more time to make. We at least have a plan in place to say, hey, this is how we can address that shortfall. The second thing is infrastructure. Being on the roads, the traffic has just gotten out of control here. And I don't think that it has to be that way. I think that if we foster relationships and focus on infrastructure, following the comprehensive plan and where we see future growth and high density growth, that's something that I hope I can at least help to start. Those projects, some of the projects, they take 10 years or more when you start to involve, state agencies. And so in a 4-year period, I don't know that you'll see significant amount of large infrastructure differences, but hopefully you will be able to see the direction that it's headed and propose plans and projects for those things in the 4 years. If elected, I'm able to serve. And so that would be the second thing. And then public safety, gosh, there's so many things that county commissioners have a hand in or a role in that are important.
Yeah.
And I don't think enough people realize, public safety is important. I was telling you, I pay attention to where I park when I go places or which part of town I go to because I want to make sure that my family's safe. If we don't make sure that our resources are being allocated in the budget appropriately, and making sure that police officers and firefighters have pay and cost of living adjustments so that they can live in Coweta County and continue to serve our community. Those are the decisions that I can impact. The dollars that are going to public safety, the tools that they have, the training that they have, the resources that they have, fire trucks, police cars. How can we invest in emergency management response systems? Parks and recreation. It all feeds into being a well-rounded community. And so every decision that the county commissioners make are going to impact another line item on the budget or another department in a way that's going to impact each resident. So in my mind, this role and the things that I want to impact, they're all important. And so the top 3, can I even limit it to 3?
Yeah.
Because if you talk about funding public safety and making sure we have a safe community, that also goes into the judicial system, and making sure that those cases can be processed timely. One for victim resolution and others, because if you have a case that's pending for 3 years and you don't have bail, you're sitting in the prison or in the jail and you're costing the county money being in jail. And so if we can make decisions that improve efficiencies in that by allocating resources a different way, that will help improve our county operations. So, but then the library, making sure we have library resources.
Yeah.
There are just so many different departments that are impacted. And so I love parks and recreation, but there's someone that thinks I'm horrible for wanting to support parks and recreation. You just get all sides.
Oh, yeah.
You know, for the phase of life that I'm in, I spend a lot of time at the ball fields. My kids are little, so playgrounds and parks. You know, those are things that impact me more than one day a week.
Yeah.
Whereas some other people might not use them. You know, so if we're allocating a significant amount of resources to parks and rec, what population are you impacting? But also youth sports and team sports. I mean, you want children to have those opportunities and experiences in their community.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing because you're getting them out of the house. You're keeping them out of crimes or gangs. You want a well-rounded community.
Yeah.
And how you vote matters because who you put in a position to have a say in those things is very important. And so when you go to vote for the person that you think is going to best impact your quality of life and shape the future of Coweta County or the Coweta County that you want to live in.
Yeah. 100%.
You know? So.
Yeah. Jim, you got any closing thoughts?
No, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
This was fun.
Yeah.
So much more fun than the forums.
Well,
I would do this
Glad to hear
all
that.
day long every day
Right.
compared to those. So
Yeah.
just pull out my booklet of notes and go through all of the budget line items. We could do that next time.
Yeah.
That'll be
for
so
sure.
much fun. You might fall asleep, but it's okay.
Well, before we get out of here, you have one like a closing statement you'd like to leave with people watching?
Yes. So being a wife, being a mom, being a Christian, being a CPA, all of that experience is relevant to this role. And I do think that I bring a different perspective than what's currently being represented. And I think that people should recognize that. You know, I'm trying to step up and serve in this way and be a positive impact to our county. And if you have questions, call me. Like I want to encourage the conversation because if someone is commenting on something, but they really don't know where I stand, just if they would just be willing to pick up the phone and talk to me or meet me for coffee somewhere, I'm here. I'm willing to answer those questions before you go and vote. And if you do vote for me, but you still have questions, pick up the phone and call me. I've put my personal cell phone out there so that anyone that wants to have a conversation or share their thoughts or opinions on something, they can do that. I'm open to it. So I hope that people see that I'm trying to do something good and I'm coming from a place of serving versus like serving others versus being self-serving, you know?
Yeah.
And hopefully that resonates with people.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I appreciate you coming on, taking the time. I know it's super early, but I appreciate you coming on. We wish you the best of luck. For anybody listening, feel free to comment in the comment section. You can reach out to us at Masculine Revolution on Facebook. Until next time.
Join the family.
Yes, sir.